Welcome to the Rugby Bits podcast. I am alone from the sort of usual team. Cooks and Sean have other commitments. Good luck to Sean, who's going to be running a massive trail run at Addo Elephant Park. So if you're there, please go and support him. But I'm joined by some, SA Rugby social media royalty here. We've got Riaan Louw, famous for his review videos that he does on YouTube, taking a bit of a hiatus, but I'm sure the comeback is coming soon. I'm sure many people have asked you about that. But Riaan, you've been on the show before. We thank you so much for joining me. I mean, there's a lot that we need to talk about to Six Nations URC, but thanks so much for joining.
No, coming off the bench, that's what you guys say, a late replacement, bolter from the blue. Happy to be here. Yeah, good luck to Sean as well in his run. Don't roll any ankles there.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's no reason for someone to be running like 100 odd kilometers, but yeah, all the best to him. Yeah,
We invented cars. I don't know why he's doing this, but yeah, go ahead.
especially at Addo, like I genuinely was like, what about elephants and all the wildlife? Like what what happens now and during the race when you see something you're not supposed to see?
Yeah, and isn't it famously dry and hot as well? Like you could go run somewhere nice and cool, like, next to the coast. That would be great.
Yeah. Apparently he said there's going to be a big thunderstorm. I think because he has to run this over 2 or 3 days. So he says there's going to be a big thunderstorm, I think the first day. So yeah.
Oh, shame. Even worse.
Yeah. But Ringo, I mean, we've come after a crazy final round of the Six Nations. So we're going to just talk about the three matches very quickly and just the insanity that happened. And then we'll just do like a little bit of like a winners and losers of like whose stocks came up, whose stocks went down in the Six Nations. And then we'll get to the URC. I mean, I have maybe a few things to say about the Bulls and their sort of faltering second half performance on at Loftus on Saturday. But
Mm.
let's start with the end of the Six Nations, that 48-46 win for France against England. I genuinely don't even know where to start with that game. Like, it was just insanity for a whole 80 minutes. Like, defense coaches, Sean Edwards, I think, was just like shell shocked at the end of the game, just talking about it. Like, and obviously, Thomas Ramos winning the Six Nations title with the last kick of the game.
Yeah, just if there's a show on earth that a place on earth that puts on a rugby show right now, Stade Francais is unmatched. I mean, it's the lights right from the start, the team being mad as a hatter, just never going according to what you think the script will be, and then an ending like that. And also, you've got the mad directors who are super biased, and there's the crowd is insane. It is one of the greatest shows on earth right now. No jokes. I was sitting here. What was it? It was like 12 o'clock at night. The last couple of phases were happening. I think England scored that try to go ahead. And my heart was literally in my throat. I don't love either
Yeah.
of these teams. I do have a soft spot for France, but definitely not England. But my heart was beating in my throat. It was so, so good. You just have to look at all the non-rugby people that have been talking about it online who are like, I've tuned into this Six Nations thing, and it's incredible. It was, yeah, it was just the best show on earth for those 2 hours.
Yeah. Look, 13 tries, obviously, a Six Nations on the line for France. England, sort of a weird thing that they do, I think, in the Borthwick era is play their best games when there's nothing on the line and the bit of pride that they need to
Yeah,
restore. Um, just insane attacking stats. Lou Bielbarri getting himself 4 tries.
yeah,
Chisholm, I think, with the brace as well. I look to try and get some level of technicality into this, like analysis onto this game with I think for France, I think there's major concerns, but the way they were
yeah.
just able to just get around England's with defense was just pretty easy. And I mean that's been a constant problem for England in the last few years. And I don't know what England needs to do to fix that right now because it genuinely was kick the ball ahead, LBB is going to
Yeah.
get it, and that seemed like yeah, very much the easiest way to get literally almost half your points there.
It's a weird thing that they like refuse to learn this lesson. That I mean, Scotland did it to them. I think Italy did it. Big Biani was running down the touchline all game as well. It just seems like there's we have that thing, and most teams have the thing where as soon as the ball goes wide against your defense, if you have a very hard press, you have that person, they call him the corner flagger. The person, he doesn't run
Yeah.
towards the person with the ball, you run to the corner flag. And they just don't seem to have that. Or if they do, it's Daly, who's like, he's a great player. I love his kicking game, but he's not going to be winning any races to the corner flag, especially not against Louis Belberet. So yeah, it was just they knew how to get around England, and they just did the thing you have to do. And then now with this game, this kicking game, the combination of box kicks that the attacking team has a free run at the guy defending, and the 50-22 rule, pulling players up into the line or leaving them back. You can like play with a team like that. I think teams are just really, really starting to get the hang of it now. Was it last year that the access rule came in, or the
Yeah.
interpretation? And yeah, 12 months later, you can see teams really are starting to pull those strings now. And guys like Shaun Edwards are like, you're just going to have to change my KPIs, guys. I can't stop this anymore. People are too good now.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know what you do as a defensive coach because you constant, like you said, it's a numbers game of which space do you want to leave. And it's
Yeah,
either you leave it out wide, you leave it at the back, you leave it, and yeah, obviously England just has a big sort of like um, trap switch in their defense that they can't really fix. But I mean,
yeah.
France, on the other hand, is also just almost as chaotic the last 2 weeks. I
Mm,
don't know if it's fully just the midfield, but I think that's a big part that Mofana and Barassi just weren't
yeah,
really in
yeah.
form
I don't know why
compared
they
to,
changed from the power guys. Just keep the power guys there. They were doing
yeah.
brilliantly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, fair enough. I mean, Mofana was fantastic last year. I thought he was really
Mm,
good. He was great in the Ireland game. And I mean, but yeah, him and Deporte when he was in the Scotland game just didn't work. And then I
mm.
think France almost have to just pick their centers as a pairing and just be like, okay, we're picking
Yeah,
the Pau guys, we're picking the Bordeaux guys together
yeah,
in future.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think up front is the problem as well,
Mm,
Riaan, because just, yeah, the scrum has not been good. It's probably been a mid-table scrum in this
mm.
competition. They were getting battered in the rolling maul, and they're just not able to put any defensive pressure on the rucks. Like
Yeah,
Marchand, Giard, Miafu, those sort of players just weren't able to really slow the ball down. They probably missed
yeah,
Jegu, who could have
yeah.
helped with that too.
I was going to say, I think it was Ben Kaiser who asked Shaun Edwards, in his face, why aren't you putting pressure on the rucks? And Edwards got really angry about it. He started deflecting like a true politician. You could just see they were always a foot away from the ruck after the tackle. No
Mm.
one was putting anything into there. No one was barging like a Ninobe ruck defense would be doing. They were just giving clean ball to the other side. And if you have guys like Miafu who are massive, there's going to be space around them if you just run at them fast. I wanted to do a little clip thing of Miafu's game because I thought he played pretty well, but then I started seeing him running around the field, and they use him to chase kickoffs. He often runs to the kickoff. This
Mm.
gigantic man is tasked with doing that. And if you're scoring 6, 7 tries and penalties and stuff, that's a few times you're sending this guy up to chase. And sometimes it's the English team would catch the ball, box kick it back to France, and France would have two rucks before Miafu's returned back to the defensive or the attacking
Mm.
line. That's how long it takes him. It's nothing against him. He's a gigantic man, and you're asking him to chase kickoff. So I feel like there's just a weird use of the resources that they have, that they are sending the incorrect guys to chase things, or they're putting them in the wrong parts of the field, and then not using their expertise to stop the rucks. Just slow the ball down. France, Scotland, I mean, there's no team in the world that's better with quick ruck ball. That's
Mm.
Glasgow's game plan, that's Scotland's game plan. And then you give quick ruck ball to England, they also going to have a great time. That any team in modern rugby will be able to use that type of thing. So it just feels like the same way that England went away from their box kicks. Why is France not competing at a breakdown? Just put someone in there.
Yeah. And just also like the stuff that got them the Six Nations last year in terms of their rolling maul and being a lot more
Yeah,
physical.
yeah.
Like they've kind of got away from that to be a bit more attacking. So it's interesting where France is going. England,
Mm,
like you've just mentioned, Ringo, like no real box kicking. There was more kicking at least compared to the Ireland game. And
yeah,
then they
yeah,
use that as a platform to get the attack going, which is almost the best of both worlds.
yeah.
And you could see the addition of Daly helping. Atkinson's more of a playmaking sort of 12, but sort of that all-rounder like McCloskey is.
Yeah, yeah.
This was a good attacking Freeman game. I don't know if it's a good defensive Freeman game. I don't, yeah, like I mean, we'll talk about it probably in winners and losers. I'm almost as confused about England that I was like, let's say 2 years ago, because it almost felt like it was the same script of they go to Paris, they have a crazy game, they lose in the last second, and you're just
Yeah.
not quite sure as to, okay, are you going to be doing this sort of a bit more ball in hand? Are you kicking a lot more?
Mm,
Like, what is your
mm,
strength?
yeah. It feels like you can keep the ball away from them for ages,
Mm,
which is not something France does. France likes to, kick it away and go on the counter. But uh, Ireland, one of the best phase play teams in the world, the best phase play team in the world, they just kept the ball. They had what, like 60% possession, and
yeah.
Scotland do the same thing. They can, so if you keep the ball away from England, you keep that kicking stat of theirs down, and then their attack or their game just does not get going because they did get to kick against France. They did a few grubbers through, and that kind of stuff, and that started then to pay dividends for them. And then Chesham just said, I mean, the man is insane. Just play him, please. Stop putting all the open sides in your back row and put him in there. So yeah, it feels like if against England, if you keep the ball away from them, they can't get it back, and they can't get their kicking momentum thing going, which is not what France did. But luckily, France is Louis Bilbare, so that's their little insurance policy.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of just crazy individual performances, like scoring 4 tries in a Six Nations decider, I mean, still a good English team that you're scoring against. It's not like a trash team that you're doing it against. And it's tries that pretty much only you can score right now in
Yeah,
World Rugby. He's clearly the fastest man in World Rugby right now. Like he genuinely helped carry them from a an insanely loose performance where you're letting an
yeah.
English team, like I think, get away with a lot, and he was just able to keep them there. Look, I mean, I'm probably on Team McCloskey for player of the tournament, but I can't fight people saying, hey, like LBB just almost on that game, and obviously what he did in previous performances could have earned that player of the tournament or not.
I just want to see him run full speed with no ball in hand. His running style is so good. I've never seen a guy on a rugby field run with his knees so high. He really trails his heel back. His arms come up to here like a
Yeah.
cartoon character running. It looks so good when he runs. So whenever they put that kick through, I'm like, put the TV on slow mo. Let's just enjoy this passage because no one's catching him. And yeah, like I said, he's got that X factor. He's the guy that, oh, we've got the ball. Is there a gap there? Yes, just put it through. He will get onto it. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah. I think just lastly on the English side of things, it's just a lot of almost small mistakes that led,
Mm.
I guess, to them losing this. So Finn Smith not making his
Discipline.
kicks.
Discipline
Discipline
is
was
so
an
bad.
issue.
Yeah, yeah,
Murley, Gage getting yellow. I think this is the most cards a team has had in the Six Nations, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. You
yeah. I
then
think they had
have,
9 or something. Yeah.
yeah. So all of that, you have Chisholm not going maybe under the post when he could have in that intercept. You have the
Mm.
Pollock steal and then attempted offload. You have the last minute penalty from Davidson. Like, yeah, like this team won 12 in a row just now. I don't know why they've almost like choked in a way, like with
It
a
boggles.
win in their hands.
It boggles the mind. Like maybe they like against that we don't want to peak early thing. Let's stop being good because we are going to make the World Cup semi-final. England always make the World Cup semi-final no matter what. So this is just they're playing possum, keeping their cards close to their chest and getting absolutely reamed by the media while it's happening. But I
Yeah.
can't explain why Mauro Itoje would put his hand through that maul and knock that ball down against Italy. It does
Mm,
not compute. It makes no sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It can't be. I feel like Mauro is a good leader. It feels like they have a good leadership team. If you have Jamie George, you have Ellis Genge, you have More Toje. These are good players that have, like you said, they've won 12 in a row, including hammering the All Blacks. It wasn't even hard for them to beat the All Blacks last year. And then it all just fell apart. They just, I don't know if Alex Mitchell is that important to them that they need him
Mm.
kicking at the base. Um, the moment George Ford has a bad game, even though he won you 12 in a row, he's just jettisoned. Wow, how could we ever love this man? It makes no sense to me. He's such a good player. And then they put Finn Smith, who sometimes looks like he is so depressed. Like there's sad music playing while he's he's running with the ball. When you see him, he just looks upset. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a thing of, I don't know. They're 12. They're still looking for a good 12. Their
Mm.
wingers, they use all these guys like Murley and Arundel and stuff, who are fast, who you would think can turn around and block and stop those breaks. But again, they are terrible under the high ball. So who do you get? You get Stewart, who's too slow to do the corner flagging, but he's brilliant on the high ball. They just need that, like a clone program, to combine these people into one person so they can get the Apalele Fassis or someone who can do it all. They can't find a guy like that.
Yeah. And they need to stop having Ben Earl carry double of everyone else as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, let's go to the Wales-Italy game. Like this is almost, I guess, got everyone there, like one shining moment of the tournament. So Wales get their
yeah,
first victory in 3 years. They
yeah,
were thrashing Italy. I mean, it was 31-0 at some stage, and they were very much like could have marched to a big score. I mean, credit to Italy that it got somewhat competitive near the end.
yeah.
But Ringo, I think the nice thing for Wales is you can see the structure of a decent tier one team. Like, I don't think
Mm,
they're going to win a Six Nations anytime soon, but you've got the set piece. You've got really good forward ball runners as well. You've got a
yeah.
pretty not too shabby attack. The kicking game's still a bit of a mess, but you've got at least a lot of the you're filling a lot of the holes that you need to fill in order for this boat to go somewhere.
Yeah. I just want to, I don't know how it's happened, but most of the rugby podcasts I listen to are Welsh people for some reason. It's it's Blood and Mud, it's Squidge, it's all those guys. So first of all, I'm
Mm,
just happy for them. They
a
have
shame.
looked depressed turning on their camera and mic some of these these last 3 years. So it's just good to see them smiling for once. And yeah, I don't know. If you want to fix a rugby team, you start with the defense and you get a coach who's a defensive coach. That's how we fixed the Springboks. You got Jock Nienaber there, and Rassi said, "Fix this. We'll sort everything out later. Everything else." And that's, I think, what Tandy's doing. Well, I don't know how many people remember, but under Tandy, Scotland was one of the best defensive teams in the world. Not just in the in the world. They were literally the best defensive side in the Six Nations once or twice. I think they gave away the least tries. So it's good to have him there. Just an angry man who wants people to tackle, and that's the thing that's changed the most for me throughout the tournament is going from no scramble defense, giving up after the line break, to at the end now killing themselves to stop the man, to get to the ball, to slow it down. And they kept a lot of teams, a lot of games close. And then, like you say, they're starting to sort out the next building block after the defense. Get your set piece good, get that scrum going, get the line out going. It looks like they found some new guys. Is it Ben Carter and Reese Davies? The new
Mm.
locks they've selected, they look like they're doing good, and they have a massive midfield. If you can't run around people or whatever, at least stop them on the gain line and run over them. So Joe Hawkins and Eddie James are not small guys. Louis Rees-Zammit is not a small man. They have a gigantic backline, and they said, okay, we'll use this to get ourselves back into games. Good defense, stopping the other team, and then scoring. And then Italy just looked like they were still drunk. They, that's the team, that's the Italy you want to play. After a historic something or other happened with Italy, hope you're the team after that, because then you're gonna win handily.
Yeah. I think there's I have a working theory that the teams that had a lot of dominant tackles, and that's France, Italy, and England to an extent, all had a bit of a dip basically during the Six Nations and kind of lost a bit of like momentum essentially because
Yeah.
obviously you're putting your body through the ringer. It's a shorter Six
Mm.
Nations, only one
Yeah.
rest week. So I wonder if that's also part of it. But yeah, like Italy just didn't really pitch up until
No.
like it was too late. And I mean, they were almost drag kicking and screaming by Menoncello, who was just, again, just fantastic. Like
Pay the man,
genuinely,
whoever you are, just give him all the money in the world. Name
oh,
your price, Minochello.
don't worry, Toulouse is going to find some sort of PR firm to pay him whatever money that he needs.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna look forward to him playing in the top 14 for sure. But I
Mm,
guess for Italy, the excuse I'll give them is no Ferrari, no Zambonin. Like their set piece just
mm,
wasn't. I mean, wasn't. It's been great. It has a bit of its ups
mm.
and downs, but the set piece just wasn't a weapon for them, and they
Yeah.
were just not able to get any foothold into the game. And Wales just used the momentum and just built on that, and then got points, and
Yeah.
then were able to make that into more pressure and more points.
Yeah. And it felt like for once the crowd was behind them. It just felt like
Mm.
this was a day that we are gonna win something finally. And yeah, the emotion was there. You could see the hits were harder, getting to the ruck quicker. Wales were really, really up for it emotionally. They definitely targeted that game, knowing that this is the team we're closest to in the Six Nations. So if we really bring it, we will be able to beat them. Especially after Italy put in a performance like they did against England, they were going to be flat. And I think actually like you said, the Six Nations being shorter has definitely affected the teams.
Mm.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why your last 2 weeks had 90-point games. You know, defenses were starting to get tired. Chasing kicks 6 weeks in a row will get you tired after a while. And the squads that were deepest were probably the ones that, well, France is probably the deepest squad in the world, but sometimes they, it looks like which French side is going to turn up is back on the
Yeah.
menu now. So, yeah, teams just maybe were starting to get tired, and Italy was definitely one of them.
Yeah. Look, lastly, shout out to Dan Edwards for that drop goal. Like
Mm.
a ball, nothing better in rugby than a ballsy drop goal. Like just
Yeah,
one that
yeah,
says, I've got this moment. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
Like I think the top like five ballsy drop goals for me, like he's in there. The one that Crowley took in the semi-final against Leinster, like always
Oh,
sort of
that
rings
one
in
was
my
so
mind.
good. Yeah, that was so
And
good. Yeah.
then that Farrell one in the World Cup semi-final against the Box. I thought that
Oh,
was the game.
yeah.
And
You're giving me like chills thinking about it, like cold sweats. That was so cold.
yeah.
And what's the one that it was a guy who played for the Crusaders? They were tied against, I think it was the Highlanders or something. And then the guy for the
Was it
Crusaders,
Slade?
no, it wasn't Slade. He later
Mm,
played for the Highlanders. It was one of those like journeyman number 10s. Someone will say in the comments one day. I'll
mm,
look it up. He also did a 80th minute drop goal from the halfway line against the Highlanders, won the game for the Crusaders. That's also right up there. But you can just see Dan Edwards, he struck that one so sweetly. Like
mm.
beautiful, beautiful drop goal.
Yeah. Then finally we go to Dublin. So Ireland winning 43-21 against their annual practice match against Scotland. And
Yes. See.
I guess for
When?
my sins, I listen to a lot of Irish rugby media. Obviously, they dominate Blue Sky.
Mm,
I don't know. I feel like they're giving way too much credit to Scotland for sort of fighting in this game. This felt like pretty much the same games I've been watching for the last, what, almost 10 years now. Like,
yeah.
Ireland are just so much better in the ruck. They're able to nullify the Scotland attack essentially. And when
Yeah.
their attack is on, they're able to just pick them off. So I mean, I don't. The only thing that Scotland was able to do was, that 19 face try. The first try that they scored was good, and they kind
Mm.
of kept themselves in the game. But Ireland were always about two scores up, so then Scotland could score to be one score behind. Like it kind of felt like Ireland controlled this game from minute one.
Yeah, it's that thing where teams have their like bogey side, and
Mm,
Ireland is like genetically engineered to beat Scotland at the just to like you said nullify the game. If you want to beat Scotland, you go after their rucks, and there's no better team in the world. And, like infuriatingly, I sometimes I watch Ireland play. I have this rule that I don't talk about the ref, but if there's one side that will make me break that rule, it is Ireland because they're so good at being invisible. At just like, when is a ruck? I've actually gone sometimes and looked up the rule or the law while watching Ireland play when two guys are at a ruck on their feet competing over the ball. And that is happening. And then someone will just reach over the top, usually
Mm,
Burn, over the top of the ruck, lying on top of guys and pick up the ball. And the ref is just like, fine, go. I don't know. It's because the World Rugby is in Dublin and they all know where they're getting paid from. I don't want to get it. Us South Africans love conspiracies, but yeah, they are so good at just killing that ruck. And it feels like Scotland have this thing where they used to have it with England. It's like, oh, here we go again. And they just kind of give up the ghost for like 2, 3 tries. And then they wake up and they get back into the game. Even now, it feels like Scotland should be able to take these guys. They have the quality and they just can't do it. They can't get their ball out of that ruck cleanly. And they just let Ireland get away with it.
yeah. Look, Doris, Byrne, and Van der Fleer have mastered the art of the reach, put your hand on the attacking team's ball, look at the ref for the ref to tell you no, and then be like, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, whoops. And
Yeah.
it was so funny. It was the Italy game where Dogbo tried that, did literally the same thing that Byrne does every ruck.
Yeah.
And was it Davidson, I think the ref, and she was like, no, you're not Ty Byrne. You can't get away
No.
with that. I have to
Yeah.
penalize you.
Yeah.
Like
It
it's
is infuriating.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's genuinely like it's a skill, and you could
Mm.
see that Ireland were sort of back to their best because Doris, Byrne, Van der Fleer were doing those things in the rucks.
Mm.
Obviously, McCloskey is fantastic in ruck time too.
Yeah.
Sheehan was back to his menacing best. I don't know what has happened to Tide Furlong since he got a beard. He looks more angry or more menacing. Like he's also just like got a bee in his
He turns
bonnet.
red. I'm like, man, you're gonna have a blood vessel burst in your eyeballs. Just calm down.
Yeah.
And he does not take
McCarthy's
getting
there,
sprung
yeah.
backwards very well, which is probably a good thing in your prop, a good
Yeah,
quality.
look,
But
fair
yeah.
enough. So yeah, I look, there was a lot of that where the last few weeks has, I mean, yeah, we've gone, I think, 180 degrees on certain narratives, especially with
Mm.
Ireland and England. And I think Andy Farrell's just shown why he's just able to get a team going and pretty much why
Yeah.
Ireland has been a top four fixture now for the last 8+ years. On the Scotland side, yeah, I guess there's not really much you can do. If you're we want to hold the ball, we want to attack, we're not going to kick much, and you face the best rug team in pretty much in world rugby,
Mm.
I I don't know what else I guess they can do. I mean, I'd like to see try something else. And Scotland kind of did in
Yeah.
the second half by playing a bit tighter and playing like off nine a lot more. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was obviously too little too late.
Yeah, no, it was that. Yeah, how have we beaten them? You do the same to them. You go after their rucks. You slow their ball down because then it just turns into a stalemate and it turns into a 12-3 game, and whoever's the best kicker wins. Usually they do because our kickers these days for some reason are terrible. Not to bring it to South Africa, but um, yeah, the Scottish side, it gets. I'm so tired of seeing Townsend in that coaching box. One week he's like the best thing to happen to Scotland, drinking his little cup as a little fu to everyone out there, and the next week he looks like an idiot losing to Italy. There's no team more up and down than these guys. They cannot string two good things together, and maybe next year if they're playing at Murrayfield, but unless you get better at work, at working
Let's not
that
even
ruck.
try this.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
just disappointing. If they didn't lose to Italy, where would they have been? Would they have been second? Would they have been above Ireland? I
Mm,
don't know. Yeah, but they just dropped the ball at the worst play. Like lose when they should be winning and win when they should be losing.
yeah. Okay, so let's do some maybe big picture discussions, talk about a few winners and losers. To
Mm.
get the ball rolling, I think the biggest winner of the Six Nations from a player point of view, Stu McCloskey, like just had an absolutely insane performance. Like best, I think Ireland's sort of top offloader, top for defenders beaten, like
Mm.
really good in at rack time as well, like dominant carries, gain line carries as well. Like he's just been able to almost put like like sort of have the Bandiaki plus type of
Yeah.
impact on the team. And he's really been able to help just give a focal point to that attack as well. And now that like the forwards are sort of back to their best and carrying well, like as opposed to what they did in Paris, like it really just puts everything together. And I mean, he's 33. It's not like he's really young, but
Yeah.
he really looks like he can just be a solution for Ireland for, maybe the next 2 or so years.
Yeah, it's I almost want to say the whole province of Ulster can have their stocks have gone up, Timoney, when he came on the field, he looked like a ball of energy every time as well.
Yeah.
Guys were falling off of him. Balakoon, how good was it to see a fit, happy Balakoon? He's got like gigantic eyes. It's just like looking at a cartoon character run, and to have two really fast wingers for the first time in I don't know how long. It's always it's always been this thing. And James Lowe is just like this plodding boot over there, this cannon that you just leave there at the side of the field to exit. But yeah, McCloskey and whisper it. None of these guys went on a Lions tour. All of them had a
Mm,
good off season. All of them were, and international rugby is about that top 3-4%. And if you've had a proper off season, you've had your rest. I think that comes out in games like this. And yeah, McCloskey has always been one of my favorite, even in the Irk. Hume and McCloskey, that midfield, oh, it's a joy to watch, and to
mm.
see him bring it to the international stage, just this gigantic giraffe of a man. Yeah, beautiful to watch. His stocks went way up.
Yeah. I mean, Tom O'Toole can be added to that, playing loose head
Mm.
and pretty much being a
I'm
test level loose head there.
first. There is a certain test he must pass, because I clearly remember a Mr. O'Toole going skywards in Durban, I think last year or the year before. Yeah,
He
so
did. He did.
there are some receipts that need to be like checked again, and need to be some revenge needs to be meted out first before I truly say he's good, especially at tight head, which will put him straight against some guys in Durban that might have something to say about it. So yeah, he's done well in the Six Nations, but I don't trust the scrum until it's played against any South African team. Sorry to make it about
Fair
me,
enough.
but yeah,
No, fair enough. Fair enough. I
yeah.
think, look, I'll give him his due that, look, no loose head seems to be able to
Mm.
handle the box from Ireland. So, like, if he's just able to keep
Not
that,
give away penalties, basically, or keep his feet on the ground. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and scrum straight, like that's all Andy Farrell needs. So, Ringo, who's one of your biggest winners?
Andy Farrell, actually, he's finally had. It's almost been forced. We almost can't give him credit to say he's started bringing guys through,
Yeah.
but he has through injury or being forced or actually his own choice, he's brought the guys through. You won't see it looking or think it looking at him, but he's one of the best man managers in world rugby and
Mm,
motivators in world rugby. I mean, it makes sense. They play so well and so hard at all times to bring through these guys from Ulster and give them proper game time and use them as well in the team. It's been great. Tommy O'Brien has looked good as well. His whole team at the start of the Six Nations beginning, we were all like, look at these old dogs. Do they have fight left in them? Ignoring the fact that the team I support is even older, but let's put that to the side. And we just thought, yeah, no, these guys are finished. They'll be lucky to finish third in the competition. And by the end of it, if you were to play France and Ireland now, I don't know if the result will go the same way. It looks like if the Six Nations was another round or two, we would have had another trophy going to Ireland. Just Andy Farrell looks like he's heard the complaints, he's heard the advice, and he's taken it on board. So I feel like, yeah, he's. What if he was an English coach? Just imagine. They must be wishing they could get him back in England.
yeah. Look, I think Farrell he's not obviously at the Rassie level of changing things, even maybe
Mm,
Gaultier to an extent. He'll stick with his team until
mm.
he can't, and then he'll
Yeah,
sort of make changes from there. But look, yeah, fair enough to him. He's kind of been able to find a good balance of rotating in and out like the older players. So Van der Vliers
yeah,
had a game, then he was on the bench, then he started this Scotland game was brilliant. Like James Lowe was sort of rotated in and out as well. Like I think, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to be said about the fly half sort of debate in Ireland, but look, Jack Crowley played really well and he was able to put him
Yeah,
in at the right time and he got the best out of him.
yeah,
So yeah, look, he used the most players, like the average age has gone down largely, and I'm trying to think. I think most of them had a pretty good impact in the minutes that they got. So you getting off of that tournament, you have a better sort of squad. You have a stronger
yeah,
squad. You can add in the likes of Keenan and Hansen into this too, and Porter. So I think it's a good position to be in. Like I was a
yeah.
bit worried Ireland was maybe going down a tier to be maybe at the Scotland, Australia sort of level, but he showed that no, Ireland is still one of the top tier teams in rugby.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a large part was up to him. He also played Curry into the ground, so England couldn't use them in the last.
I love that conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think, yeah, on the French side of things, like this was a really, I think this is a really good Mathieu Jalibert tournament, but it's
mm,
also a Mathieu Jalibert tournament that maybe still leaves a few questions. So he's almost like a
yeah,
winner with a bit of a question mark of, I mean, he just is killing it in the attacking stats. Like, I think he's second for defenders beaten. He's first for creating line breaks, first for try assists. Like, he was, I think, as an attacking force, he was great. And Dupont and Ramos found a way to play with them where Dupont was like,
yeah,
look, I don't need to be the superstar. I'm more than happy for you to get the ball and to do your own thing.
yeah,
On the other hand, he also kind of contributes to the chaos that we saw the last 2 weeks, where you're thinking if Roman Tamak was there,
would
does he
this
not
happen?
maybe
Yeah,
calm things a bit down, especially
yeah,
in that England game? Maybe the Scotland game was just one of those days, but in that England game, does he not maybe just go, guys, let's just rather go into a bit of a kicking battle for a few minutes and just
yeah.
get the temperature down, not have Mialfa running up and down the whole time.
Mm. Yeah, it's weird. I do have a lot of people I follow that are Bordeaux fans, so they've been tooting the Jalibert horn for years and years now. And or the same as O'Toole flying in the air, there's the thing that you need to get out of my mind before I trust you. For him, it's kicking a penalty kick backwards is is one of the
Oh
ones.
yeah.
And not just that, his penalty line kicks are short. They like
Mm,
Bowden Barrett levels short. He doesn't get a lot of distance when he has to kick for the line. And that for me is actually in international rugby a very big weakness. If you losing 10 meters to another team, it can cause issues. And I've just found for me his actual kicking from hand when he's got a kick for a line out is not that far, which is does cause issues. Like you say, attack, brilliant guy, but for me, the guy whose stocks went up the most, it's Giard. He just
mm.
came of age for me. I couldn't stop watching him. I wish he'd played more. Actually, I wanted to see more of the Oliver Giard, you know, lock pairing because that was so much fun. But yeah, just the massive engine. He could also do a Chesham job maybe at playing on the side of the scrum if you want to have a gigantic pack just running out every now and again. And I've never seen a man carry the ball so much who's that big. I think he had 19 carries against
Mm.
Ireland. He just went and went and went. And not necessarily always over the gain line, but he would draw two players, sometimes three players. He presented the ball. Didn't get turned over. Just, yeah, more of him, please. I was see him running at the fences.
Yeah, so you almost said you said it already. Like you wouldn't mind having him Miafu on the field at the same time, having him play at 8 or 6 just to
Yeah,
add more
yeah.
heft because yeah, it's hard to think how
Anything
you
to help
defend
those
that.
poor props. Just
Oh,
give those
yeah.
props everything they can. Because how can a country with that many rugby players have no props? Don't they
Yeah.
eat? Like, does no one get fat in France? Is everyone riding
Yeah.
bicycles?
This is, yeah, I think this was going to be one of my losers is just French props stocks are low. And Winnie
Mm.
Antonio, I mean, hopefully he gets well soon.
Yeah,
But
please,
geez,
healthy.
yeah, it's caused a big problem for Galtier. I mean,
Mm.
look, let's remember he was supposed to retire after the 23 World Cup, and Galtier basically begged him to stay, and you could
Yeah.
clearly see the reason why now.
I wonder if he feels guilty. What if Gaultier is standing looking at that tree and wondering, was it me who did this?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a shame. Not just for rugby, just hopefully he just looks like such a good human being. I hope
Mm,
he's okay and he's on the mend and he doesn't have to play rugby anymore. Apparently Frans Malherbe is going to be his replacement,
mm.
so not a bad replacement to have. But yeah, if you want to go stocks dropping, is where are all the props in France? How could a country with that many rugby players not have anyone in the front row? It's insane to me.
Yeah, down human, you might get a number, a call from a French number in the next few weeks to try and
Yeah.
help things. Yeah, I think other winners. Look, I mean, we've talked about Steve Tandy and I think how Wales have gone. I think we've talked about
Mm.
Tommaso Menoncello. I wanted to make Paolo Garbisi a winner because I was like, oh, this is the Garbisi maturation process. It's finally
Yeah.
realized. And then he had this game
Yeah.
against Wales. And I was just like, ah, Paolo, like I was literally on your side now.
Yeah. It's almost like every team in the competition had a bad game, at least
Mm,
one like just absolute stinker. And that was Paolo's turn. It was the last game of the tournament, unfortunately. Ford had one, Finn had one, who Prendergast, he did have one, and then Crowley came in his place. So
mm,
yeah, I was also thinking, oh, here's a mature Paolo who's not gonna try and be this running all court player. He's gonna be a good kicking marshal the back line, just a calm presence. And then once one or two kicks go awry, he's like one of those confidence guys, it seems. He just falls apart. And if his nine is not playing well, which unfortunately happens often with Italy, he
yeah.
really, really falls apart. I don't know why his brother is always playing. He should just trip him at
Yeah.
home or something. But
I'm not sure about younger Garbisi. I don't know if he should be in that test team, honestly.
yeah, yeah. No, just pick the other guy. He just does better. And where's is Pajarello injured or he's just
I
not
think so,
playing
yeah.
because he's like seventh choice at Toulouse or something?
Mm. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
was injured, unfortunately, so he was
Mm,
unavailable. I'll
mm.
give a winner, though, in the Italian context to Lorenzo Canone. Actually, both Canone brothers were just
Yeah.
epic, like just
Yeah.
tackling anything that moved. I think they both were like near the top, like 5 or 10 for dominant tackles in the competition as well. Like, I think
Mm.
Lorenzo Canone, especially, like, obviously he carries a lot more. He's really
Yeah.
active in
So
rucks and
good at
turning it
carrying
over.
as well. Yeah, he
Yeah.
breaks tackles, that guy. Yeah. No,
There's a lot
fully
of
agree.
Jasper Visa and Lorenzo Canone. Like
Mm.
you can just see sort of the archetype there, and he's really able to give it Italy that front football. They don't really use it afterwards, but he's able to do that, set that
Yeah.
platform. He sets the agenda for defense as well. And look, Italy was second for dominant tackles, and clearly that was a strategy of theirs. And they were just
Mm.
able to use that as a way of getting momentum, and then you get the counter-attacking ball and you get it to Menoncello's hands. But yeah, Canone just
Mm.
really had. I mean, a lot of the eights had really good tournaments. I think
Yeah.
you can say most eights could come out of this tournament with a lot of credit, but I think Canone is probably being under sort of discussed
Yeah.
because of the likes of Wainwright and Doris being really good.
Yeah, no. Some of the hits him and his brother were putting into guys, it really, really, their games are one of the ones where you could feel the impact on the line. And when guys were running at them, they were really putting them behind. And for me, also, the ascendance to world domination of the Italian scrum.
Mm,
That's one that I'm very happy about. Last year, I called it late last year that I thought maybe actually the Italy scrum is the second best one in the world, and no one
mm,
is realizing this. And it feels like it's kind of panned out this year because guys like teams like New Zealand struggled against them. We struggled against them. We did eventually get the over the top there, but yeah, just seeing the Italian scrum and in today's game where there's a lot more knock-ons, that's something you really want to focus on. So to see those guys like Ferrari and Fischetti and all them just becoming household names. I mean, we only ever knew Castro Giovanni's name and no one else.
mm.
And now you have all these front rows from Italy that everyone just knows. It's that's one of the ones that I'm very happy about.
Yeah. I think final winner for me is Cal State.
Yeah.
I think this was like a breakout tournament for him. I mean, it's hard to say someone's a, I mean, Balakun won that breakout performer,
At
or, and
28.
yeah, he's like, I'm 28. How am I winning this? But yeah, I mean, Steyn is, I think, the same age or 30, I think, already. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously he took his opportunity, replaced obviously fellow Safa, Duan van der Merwe as well, and
Mm.
just his ability in the air. And obviously, the aerial battle was a big sort of like talking point in the Six Nations, and
Yeah,
he was just ridiculous, like with just being able to retain those kicks and putting pressure. He's also up there with dominant tackles and a beast defensively, getting the defenders beaten. Like
mm,
you could see why and think, the likes of Townsend and Gaultier deserve a lot of credit for dropping, these, record holder try scorers for their countries and seeing
yeah.
where the game is going.
Yeah, just realizing the tools you need are more than just scoring the try. There's all these
Mm,
other things. And he was carrying sometimes that Scotland team on his back, just catching the ball, beating few defenders, setting up the ruck, rucking himself as well. Because he's a big body, he's quite a big
mm,
guy, but just so fast, so agile for his size. Brilliant to watch. I think I'm trying to think now out of everything, like one of the Joe Hayes. He's one of my stock
yes.
rising guys. Yeah.
Mm,
Against, I think the first 20 minutes against Ireland, the game was actually kind of even, and Joe Hayes was one of the reasons for that. Not just his scrumming, but his ball carrying is brilliant. And
mm,
he's got good hands as well. I feel like there has been an issue post Dan Cole and Joe Marler for England in getting their front row because Ellis Genge is Ellis Genge. He's actually becoming a good scrummager now. He's always been a great ball carrier, but someone else to help him because where's Carl Sinclair, Joe Marler, Dan Cole, all of them are gone, and the rise of Joe Hayes has been great to see. I actually enjoy watching him so much. He's been brilliant.
yeah, no, I'm fully in agreement. I think Joe Hayes has been uh, probably England's best player this tournament. Like he's
Mm,
been setting the standard. He's great around the park, and he's probably the top. Well, him and Ferrari could sort of battle out for the top scrummager in this tournament too.
yeah.
Let's go, Ringo. Let me go to you for who's the stocks falling? Who's the loser? Who are the losers for this tournament?
It shouldn't feel nice to be mean, but sometimes it's nice to just go go down a little bit on people. Um, the WRU, this poor team, look, they should hang their heads in shame. But no, let's not go board politics. I'm trying to think. I always try and be positive around rugby, so I don't really know. Maybe the the I England's attacking coach. Do they have one? And
Mm,
defensive coach as well. Is it Wigglesworth? Who is their defensive coach? I think it was Wigglesworth who was made their coach in September last year.
yes.
Yeah, and from there it's just fallen apart, man.
Apparently, they have four coaches who are defensive coaches or primarily defensive coaches that they've sort of all reallocated. So Wigglesworth is now the head defensive coach. They
Mm,
have Al Abd, who's kind of now the breakdown and collisions guy. They
yeah,
made Sinfield sort of the skills guy. He obviously used to be the defensive coach. And then there's another
yeah,
guy who's the sort of the edges defensive coach. And I'm like, you're clearly not doing your job, sir, because that's the
You-
main fault
yeah.
line here.
Yeah, and maybe it's also I don't know how they get assigned. Does Borthwick just have? I mean, obviously, most coaches they pick their guys, and
Mm,
Borthwick has had a revolving door. I don't know what it is with the English setup because it's not just under Borthwick that this happened. It was under Eddie Jones as well. That assistant
mm.
coaches they just churn through them. Maybe Penny Hill Park is a crap place to work. I don't know. Maybe their offices are too small. I
Yeah.
can't imagine it would be. But yeah, they changed tactics and their defense has gone backwards. So I would say, yeah, that's one of the ones that Wigglesworth just go somewhere else. Get a proper defensive coach in there. Because he's an attacking coach, as far as I know. He is not supposed to be defensive.
I mean, he was coaching for, I think, 2 years, and then he obviously went up with Borthwick from Leicester. And yeah, like you
Mm,
said, people have their people, like Borthwick trusts him, which is why he's
mm,
filled pretty much every role in that English coaching staff. But it feels like every time something is bad in the England team, it kind of follows him. So
yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, but it kind of feels like he should probably be the person that isn't a key part of this coaching team. Like you need to get
Yeah.
in real people
Just
that
make him
can
the
actually fix
emotional
things.
support animal. Be Borthwick's buddy. That's your official title. And we'll get a professional in to do this defensive
Yeah,
work.
I don't know where. Yeah, genuinely, I'm very interested to see how England progress from this for the well, they have the next game is in Joburg against the Springboks. So
Mm.
what are you? Where are you? Are you going to be kicking 38 times? Are you going to have Mitchell or whoever is the nine kick like 20 box kicks and have that
Yeah,
chase and have, Pollock or Underhill pick up the scraps? Or are you sort of the ones kicking those sort of stabbing kicks down the line like we saw with Daly and Freeman do
yeah.
that? Is Freeman going to stay at center? There's
Which I
just
don't
so
like.
many
Just
things.
keep him on the wing. He worked on the wing. Why are you putting him at center now?
Yeah, don't even get
I,
me started on that. And poor Ben
yeah.
Earl, I know I said this earlier, but geez, get some carrying help around him. Like he can't be
Mm.
carrying double the amount that other players are doing. Like you kind of leading him also into a Tom Curry type of situation. Like
Yeah.
they just balance is just not there. And
Mm.
it also feels like there's certain players that aren't really being given a chance that you think could help. Obviously, Furbank has been struggling with injury, so fair
Yeah.
enough. But
Yeah.
Max Ojomo could help with that. Cunningham
Yeah.
South, I'm not the
Why is
biggest
Cunningham
fan
South
of him,
not getting minutes? Give him
but can he?
minutes.
Yeah, he helps with
Yeah.
the carrying at least. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just there's a lot of ill-fitting pieces in this puzzle right now, and
Mm.
yeah, I'm very keen to see what England does with this. But yeah, generally my loser is for agendas. Like anyone that has an agenda against their national team coach is just losing it because every coach has done just enough, I think, to
Yeah.
probably stave off execution. Like, if you're an anti-Galtier person, he needed to have lost that game. And obviously, he
Yeah.
was the Six Nations, so he's probably fine now. Farrell's
Yeah.
obviously been able to turn things around from Ireland. Townsend gets his stock win against England. Obviously, that
Yeah.
amazing performance against France. Quesada, like I, him and Tandy probably have the most credit, but Quesada in that attack hasn't been great. But
Yeah.
winning against England saves him. Tandy winning against Italy saves him. Borthwick, putting 48 or 46 points against France probably just saves him. So no
Yeah.
one is happy if you're a sort of and like wanting your coach to go. And I mean, Ringo, you probably have a lot of experience with this right now of your team winning, but your coach having to stay. Like, yeah, there's nothing more irritating, I think, as a sports fan when you're like, these wins are built on like they're not built on solid ground. Like this is gonna
Yeah.
fall into quicksand really quickly.
Yeah, no, it is that thing where, and people have been burned now from the previous World Cup. Guys were replaced 12 months out from the World
Mm,
Cup, so now there's that experience in the back of everyone's mind as well. So, would England fire Borthwick after the Six Nations? They might be like, no, it's too late now. We'll just have to grin and bear it all the way to the World Cup. Maybe promote him to director of rugby and bring in someone else underneath him or
mm,
something, a side promotion. Gautier, like you said, he's now got the July. I'm gonna take the children, so it doesn't matter how bad I'm doing. No one will be angry at me. Thing that he's gonna. He's. They don't care about a Nations Cup. They will never ever try and win that competition. Doesn't matter
yeah.
how you dress it up. You can make it red, white, and blue. They will not care about that competition. So he's safe. Tandy and Quesada, they might be coaches of the tournament, the way they've taken their teams and just raised their level. And yeah, Townsend, the man is immune. I think Scotland want him to break up with them. They don't want to let go of him.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Townsend, I don't know what he needs to do to go. He can lose by 30 points to every team as long as he's got that Calcutta Cup. He's a safe man. So yeah. No, I think we might be hitting that point now where you can't fire guys anymore. What you have
Mm,
now is what you keep until the World Cup. It's just too expensive, and last time things went very poorly for a lot of teams.
yeah. And I guess there isn't really that many like good coaches available. Like the best realistic name, let me say that is probably Checker, maybe Razor.
Robertson? Yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, Razor
possibly.
obviously wasn't really a success in his own national team coaching job. Like Checker, this is the perfect Checker amount of time. 18 months. You don't need more than 18 months of Checker. You're fine with that. He will make your team really good and he must leave before he, makes
Yeah,
everyone angry at him. So if
yeah.
you are going to do something, it's probably like nowish and sort of giving Checker or whoever the case is, like the summer tests and then sort of going on from there. But
I mean,
yeah,
and if
I
you're if you don't mind a bit of toxicity, Jake White's floating around. I'm sure his CV's been flying out
oh,
left,
Jake
right, and
White, yeah.
centers.
So yeah, I guess the options maybe aren't there. Like almost when England fired Eddie Jones, it then sort of caused this domino effect where obviously Australia was like, oh, let's get Eddie Jones here. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I mean, teams have been known to do crazier things, but yeah, I
Mm.
think there's probably just enough rationale for all of these teams to go. We can keep our coach at least
Yeah.
until July,
Mm.
and you probably need to make a decision before the November tests this
Yeah,
year.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's probably too late there. I think another more minor, sort of smaller loser um, is, like just with the Six Nations, we need to find a way. I don't know if it's maybe playing all the final games at the same time. Obviously, I get the argument why they're in different times, but
Yeah.
I don't like the possibility that a team wins the Six Nations while sitting at home and
Yeah.
watching like in a hotel, something like that. That seems
Yeah.
so budget, man. Like we
Yeah.
we need to find a way that you win it at or at a stadium. You're able to do the lifts and all that sort of stuff. Like that was one thing I was almost stressed about as well. Is that we're gonna have these stupid photos of Ireland in their number ones, like holding a
In an
trophy in
empty
some
ground.
hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hate that. I really, really dislike that. So I'm glad for
Mm.
that purpose that France was able to actually win it in a stadium at home and all that sort of
With the
stuff. Like,
last kick, I mean, they couldn't have done it better than that. Yeah, it
yeah,
was so great. But I do really hate the multi-screen thing as well. I don't know which
fair.
one I hate. Yeah. Especially these days with DSTV being like, oh, you get two. You can have two screens unless you pay us like the price.
Yeah,
Yes, it's a tough one, that one to decide upon. Yeah, but the winning in an empty stadium is very sad. I don't like doing that stuff either.
yeah.
Me,
But yeah,
let's going down, stocks down. Is there I know everyone's singing the praises. Is there a thing that the meta, the current rugby meta, is maybe getting a little samey across all teams? That
mm,
box kick, chase, make sure you have got a guy that can catch it, make sure you have maybe a lock and a flank around the ball and try and counter as quickly. That the
mm,
playing style is maybe becoming a bit homogenous and there literally is no other way to play because multi-phase teams don't do well. They struggle. If Ireland is the team that's now kicking second most or whatever in the Six Nations, really something has changed. Is there just the sneaking feeling that maybe there is an adjustment that needs to be made? I don't know what. You can't just say the glove can
yeah.
come back. Maybe you can say one escort is allowed. But yeah, I don't know how you fix it.
I don't know. Like, that's a good question, Ringo, because I think yeah, obviously these are the consequences of the laws. So we've
Mm,
said, okay, we want the laws to do this. And of, this is the reason why we need laws to stay for 3 or 4 years so we can work out the kinks and then sort of work out the
yeah,
counters to that. So the
yeah,
unintended consequences are for more scrums, which obviously non-South African teams are unhappy about, and
yeah,
now this kind of like we need the wings to be these aerial threats. So
yeah.
goodbye to the likes, well, Duan's a
But
tall
no,
winger, but like
yeah,
yeah, Pino, those sort of wings are out, and I guess you disadvantage shorter wingers, but the short wingers are doing pretty well with getting kicks themselves. Like LBB
yeah,
was the top player for retained kicks. Probably it's more because probably he kicks ahead than rather
yeah,
than sort of kick up
yeah,
high. But it
yeah.
just shows like it's not really a place for that. So yeah, I'm very keen to see what Rassi does because
Mm,
he's obviously been at the forefront of this and see how he like sort of adapts to this because then this is you don't want to like I think this is kind of where and maybe this is sort of where I understand where the likes of Gaultier have come from with trying to change their game plan, maybe sort of showing a more of an attacking hand now, is you get nothing for being the best team now, as we've known in
yeah,
previous like World Cup
yeah,
campaigns. You give teams enough times to adjust. You need to almost hide things and then sort of show them in the last year and then be like, well, you have no time to now adjust to we
yeah,
us doing this or that. So 2027 might answer the question, but for now there's definitely a template that everyone's following. And
yeah,
yeah, like you said, to the point where Ireland has kind of combined it, but mostly abandoned it. Scotland's pretty
yeah,
much the only team that's, at the saving sort of the purer attacking form of
Yeah.
rugby. They
But then
refuse
they
to
still
kick.
have Carl Steyn, who's like the best
Fair.
Steiner. Yeah, so there is in every single team, and it feels like yeah, the template is being stamped on every single team now, and I haven't seen the team yet. Maybe it can be us that finds a way to break it, but I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to break this meta
Mm,
of the box kick. You get that 50-50 ball, and if you are smart, you gain it more often than not. So yeah, how do you break this meta? I just don't know.
yeah.
And that's one of the things that's maybe stocks going down for me at this stage.
Yeah. I do like France's like um method around that of whoever catches the ball sort of or whoever gets the ball taps it back and a Ramos or a Jalibert is one pass away for or
Yeah.
Dupont is one pass away to start the counter. Like it
Mm.
I mean Scotland and
Once
England
that
kind of worked
happens,
around that.
the
Yeah.
rugby is beautiful. It's just that
Yes.
portion. How you get to that beautiful part is
Yeah.
getting very same. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's that it's all of that sort of like, swings and roundabouts. And
Mm,
even looking at Super Rugby, like I haven't been able to watch like attentively, but
mm,
you just they're they're not following that template right now with the
mm.
like obviously with the rules and how they're playing trying to play the game. And you're just like, okay, but what are you gonna do now when it's Freeman
Yeah.
and Steyn and those sort of players all chasing down balls and your
Yeah.
wingers have literally not gone up for a high ball like in six
Yeah.
months. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. Maybe there is, yeah, maybe the New Zealand. I mean, they seem quite cocky right now, saying, "Well, you also scoring 90 points in a game, so clearly Super Rugby is not the problem." So, bit of
Yeah.
an L for Northern Hemisphere rugby for that.
Yeah.
And I think, like we
But
talked about,
they must admit that why are we scoring 90 points a game? Because we're kicking more.
yes. Well,
Which
they're
is
not going to make
something we
that.
hate.
That's not for them to make that connection. And I guess
Yeah.
a small winner to us. We didn't make this a Springbok conversation about, which team is now a Springbok threat and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah,
good on us for
please.
doing that.
Yeah. Do not put Rassie in the thumbnail. I'll kill you if you do that.
Damn it. So yeah, Ringo, yeah. So congratulations to France. Yeah, what are you thinking for player of the tournament? I think I'm Team McCloskey.
Uh, I was thinking McCloskey is very good. Steyn is very good. Oh,
Cello
LBB.
probably as well.
Yeah, Menoncello. I think it has to be someone that is in the winning team. Ramos. It is Tamo Ramos for me. Just absolute madness. I hear he's actually kind of a prick to his own teammates as well. So yeah, I think it's Tamo Ramos for me. Just metronome boot. That's what won them the championship. 100% kicking record on Saturday night. If where England was spraying the ball all over the place. Yeah, I think for me, Tamo Ramos. He was the. Guess he can do a crazy thing every now and again, but 80% of the time he's the guy you want to have the ball and making decisions. And I feel like when he was doing his thing, he was playing off Dupont well, he was playing off Jalibert well, whatever they were doing. He was cleaning up the ball at the back. And yeah, you can't say anything bad about a person who just kicks every single goal in the world. And doesn't matter where you put it, you can fight with Maro about where the penalty is as much as you want. He's gonna kick it over. It's a moot point for him. So for me, it was yeah, Tamo Ramos.
Yeah. No, it was the best news to see, or the best sort of like snippet to hear that like Ramos is seen as this like prick that talks too much and everything. I was like,
Yeah,
I knew there was something about this man that I really, really loved.
yeah,
And there's so much similarities to Willie LaRue to this guy. Like he's
yeah,
really that you love him if you probably hate him if he's in your team even, but like he's
yeah,
annoying, but he's usually right as well. So
yeah,
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 I'm glad that he's Mr. Unpopular, but he has to perform that well in order to keep himself in a team, and he does
yeah.
deliver, to be fair to him.
Yeah, yeah. He's that guy in the like movie that the ensemble cast that you hate this guy, but he's always right and his argument's always correct, and you're just I don't like this guy, but he's always there. You have to have him. He's just the guy that's the
Yeah.
most important.
Yeah. Okay, Ringer, let's do some URC chat. So we're
Mm.
at the home stretch, 6 games to go. All four teams probably still have a pretty good chance of making it to the playoffs. And all South African teams pretty much have four home games, two away games, or
Yeah.
two games in Europe. So this weekend we have the Bulls hosting Cardiff on Friday. We have the Lions in the early afternoon game against Edinburgh. Sharks in the evening hosting Munster, and then on Sunday, I think this is the Donny Craven game. The Stormers are hosting the Dragons. Yeah, obviously you are a representative of the SA Shield champs, and I think Ringo, the main question I need to ask you is this now the time for the Lions? Are they going to make
Is
a
it our
URC
year?
playoff? Is it your year? Are you the Scotland of this competition?
I don't know how many times we've been in this position every single year. Oh, we've got a home run now. We're going to win 4 out of 4 at home. I mean, we're playing Edinburgh. How hard can it be? And then Benetton puts 40 points on us at home and makes my child cry. So I don't know. We amazingly beat, actually, to the probably the detriment of the South African Shield is that we've finally beaten our compatriots. So
Mm,
that's put us all slightly lower on the log. The weight of the SAFA teams slightly lower on the log than they would usually be because we're not 3 points anymore. But I mean, we put 40 points on Edinburgh in the first half last time they were here. This weekend is supposed to be a little cooler. It might even rain. So Edinburgh might not be as far behind, but I don't know. Are their players getting a rest week? They Six Nations guys, or I have no idea what their protocols are. This might be the weekend that all the SAFA teams need to get 4 out of 4 because the teams they're playing against either have guys resting or have tired players. So yeah, this if not this year, then please cash out. Just get rid of get rid of him. We can't go through this again.
he can't keep getting away with this, but might just, honestly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just looking at the fixtures, so it's Edinburgh, Glasgow, Connacht, and Dragons at home. So not
Mm.
too bad. The Glasgow game could be quite tough, but Glasgow could
Yeah.
also be involved in Europe, so maybe that, weakens that squad. And then the
Yeah.
last two is Leinster and Munster away. And you're just like, who did the Lions hurt in a previous life to have
We need to
those two
take points
games?
off them at the end of the season to make sure they don't get home games. I mean, last time we played we played
Fair
Leinster, it was
enough.
like 9 points to 6 in Dublin. So don't write
Yeah.
us off just yet. No, I think those two are probably 10 points to the Irish side. So we do need to get our butts in gear and get as many points as we can off the next 4 weeks. It has to be, in my books, minimum 15 points plus maybe just a normal 4 points against Glasgow if they're running well in Europe. Um, yeah, that's if we do not make the playoffs this year after being SA Shield champions, I mean, we already providing the Sharks with all their players. We might as well then start wearing black as well and just calling ourselves the Surfer Boys because being a SA Shield champs and not making the playoffs is not cool.
Yeah. And then I saw on social media that you took your 2-year-old to her first game at Ellis Park, and I really want to find out how does a 2-year-old experience watching the Lions, being at Ellis Park? Like how did she take it all in?
Oh no, she loved it. I've always been the kind of guy that I don't think Ellis Park is a death zone that's full of war and stabbings and all that stuff. Because I go regularly, I know it pretty well. So I am happy to take my 2-year-old daughter with me to Ellis Park and have a nice day out. So the first thing for any kid at a place like that is the food. Just make sure you get them a nice big giant bag of chips or some of those little donuts. She got a free flag at the gate, so that was already setting the day up. And then Mufasa, the mascot, as long as
Mm.
he's on the field, they love every second on it. She doesn't know what was happening on the field. She kept asking, "Why are these guys fighting?" And I said, "No, they're playing rugby. They want the ball." "Oh, but why are they fighting?" But and 2 hours might be a bit too much for her to sit still. So by the end of it, I was like, let's just get out of here. It looks like there's a
Mm.
storm coming anyways. But yeah, brilliant first day for her. I was hoping to go this weekend, but I've got some other plans. But definitely, will in this next 4 match run, she'll come with me again. I want to get that bug to bite.
Yeah, you said the oldest is now off rugby, basically.
Yeah, no, she's hit 5 years old. She's discovered that she is a girl, so makeup, ballerinas, bluey, screw rugby. I've asked her many times, come back, and she doesn't want to. But I'll try. I'll
Wow.
keep trying.
Yeah. No, maybe when the women's box, because they're playing that doubleheader. Is it Ellis Park or is it the Soccer City that they're playing the doubleheader at? I
I
can't
think it's
remember.
Ellis Park. Yeah, I think it's Ellis Park. Which one am I
Yeah.
going to? Am I going to Soccer City or Ellis Park? I might be going to both. I'll have to
Oh,
check. But
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those double headers,
I'm.
though, I don't know. It takes away from them. Like it makes it feel like
Mm,
because no one's going to go to a stadium for 8 hours. We just don't do
yeah.
that in South Africa, and yeah, it's
Especially
a
with the
shame.
family.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I wish they would find a way to schedule games like that in, I don't know, George or something like that, where you can get a
Mm,
crowd that's hungry for live rugby and then they can get the spotlight.
yeah. And then, yeah, so we had one URC game this weekend, which was Bulls Stormers, and a weird game. I think, and a
Mm,
deeply weird, deeply unserious game from both teams. So it was pretty close in the first half, and then the Stormers just broke away in the second half, and the Bulls rugby just pretty much went down a crater throughout the second half. Like big game-changing moment was obviously the Springbok front row coming off, and there was just not really much of an impact when the likes of Vessels and Chakweni were on the field, and just mistake after mistake after mistake, and the Stormers
yeah,
were able to capitalize. Yeah, big win for the Stormers. They're able to sort of keep into like close contact with that top four race and getting themselves a home quarter final. But, geez, a big opportunity loss for the Bulls. And yeah, I think as a Bulls fan myself, just really annoying how like we thought, okay, there's a bit of progress, the Jan
yeah.
Ackerman thing is coming along, but it's not quite sort of connecting there.
Yeah, the swings in Bulls fans this season has been like insane to see. Just like absolute doldrums, sadness in the first part of the season. I don't know, what is it, 7 games in a row that they lost, and then
Yeah.
there was 3 wins, absolutely smashing the lines. Unfortunately, we're like your Scotland to Ireland. It doesn't matter what's happening. The Bulls will put 50 on us every time. I don't know what it is because I do rate Jan Ackerman. Obviously, I love him because of the Lions in the 2016s. But we were a team that could ship 50 points at least 2 times a season and still
Mm,
make the final of the Super Rugby. We often had a game against someone like the Hurricanes or something who would come to South Africa and just put 50 points on us. I don't know if it's a concentration thing or a game plan thing because I know the Lions under Ackerman, their goal was to be the fittest team in the comp, so they worked really hard in fitness, and maybe that's an issue that the Bulls
mm,
get tired or because they're getting work too hard. I don't know. Guys like Envia would know better from Lekker Rugby Pod. And now this weekend they got Cardiff Rugby coming, who's coached by Cornel van Sale, who used to work under Rassi Ninaber and Franco Smith at Free State. So not out of the woods yet, just because the Welsh side is coming there. There might be
mm.
some. I wouldn't just write Cardiff off this weekend.
Yeah, it's a massive game. Like for both
Mm,
teams, I think Cardiff needs to try and see if they can get 3 or 4 points in this SA tour,
mm,
if they want to still be in the top eight, because they also have a pretty hard like run in. For the
yeah,
Bulls, yeah, like you're pretty much hanging on at eighth, and you've got the Sharks and Connacht, the forever ninth place team of the URC, like between you and the Lions, essentially. But
yeah.
you've got those teams right on your shoulder. Like you can't really make mistakes right now. So,
Mm,
that's the problem, I guess, with, like you said, maybe the Lions becoming good now has given the Bulls a very small margin for error, and the Stormers to an extent
yeah.
a small margin for error at the top of the log as well.
Mm.
Also, the Stormers becoming I don't know if it's a hard team to read or, what, Ron Now's back. They're back to being a
Ronald is
relatively
back.
serious team.
Yeah, the women's here. You gotta get get in line. It makes such a difference. The if you want to beat the Stormers, just make sure Ronald doesn't get off the bus. He
Mm,
is so important to them. I don't know how much of an impact Furi had. Didn't he? He only played like 30 minutes or something.
yes.
But yeah, just I don't know how this is stuck, but the goof troopness, it's in them, and it's
Yeah.
very hard for them to keep it down. Just the effervescent rugby that they want to play. And they did say this week, Riaan Louw was a big part of getting them to keep calm. He's shouting at guys, he's keeping their heads on straight, and then Damien Willems helping Sasha. I think we sometimes forget Sasha is still, he's a child. I mean, what were you up to when
Mm.
you were 22, 23 years old? I was in clubs, partying, being useless. And this man is carrying the hopes of a nation on his shoulders, you know? He's going to make mistakes at some point. So
Yeah.
to have those older heads there next to him, I'm sure it's been a big help.
Yeah. Look, yeah. So, I mean, Stormers, just big credit to them for forcing a lot of, I think, 12, 13 penalties for the Bulls this weekend
Mm.
and really
Like
just
16
keeping,
turnovers or 12 turnovers or something like that
yes,
as well. Yeah, just
yeah, and yeah, just ensuring that the basics were there. And yeah, I think the Bulls almost get lost in the sauce of playing at Highveld and wanting to sort of get, that 40 points and scoring a lot of tries. And
they
this
need to
precedes
remove that
Ackermann, to be fair.
sign. Just take that sign off,
Oh my
please.
gosh. Yeah.
Someone put some black tape over that sign. Just you're not allowed
Yeah.
to look at this until you start winning games again. You deserve
Yeah.
it when you win. It's like the All Blacks versus New Zealand. That moniker only that thing only deserves to go on certain teams. And what they've refused to acknowledge is that the Lions are like 300 meters higher. We don't talk about it like that. The Bulls have that thing in every social media post they put that thing in it. So yeah, just take that sign down, please, guys.
Yeah, it's not working for us right now. We'll see. I mean, look, for European teams coming now, let's hope that the Bulls can get the winning run. The Sharks are
Mm,
basically at, one mistake, you're probably out. I mean, they're facing
yeah,
Munster, probably without Byrne and Crowley.
yeah,
I
of
assume
course.
they'll be given a week off,
Mm.
but still a very tough team, very tough game. Like it seems like
Coming
they
in
went
pissed
to.
off already. Don't select Jaden Hendrickson for this weekend,
Oh.
please.
I was about
Because,
to say there's obviously some bad feeling from last season, but look,
yeah,
I think Ringo, they went too early on the JP Peterson permanent signing,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
But I think the other thing for the Sharks is they need to. I think they get the balance wrong. I think they need to realize, look, we're a team that has most of our class Springboks are up front. We need to lean
Mm,
more into that than,
yeah.
trying to sort of play a bit more of an expansive game. Our tens aren't really on good form right now.
Mm,
It's basically Esterhazen and Hooker trying their best to keep things together. We need to
mm,
really just trust, the Oxes and the Chitukas to try and get us out of these holes. So yeah, this could be a very interesting test because I mean I think even if Munster are going somewhat under strength with some of the Irish internationals out, like they'll have a
mm.
pretty competitive pack. They'll have a really good backline to play against the Sharks on Saturday.
Yeah, I think Munster, besides Leinster, or maybe they have the second best second team in the comp in my books.
Mm,
They have they just have these club legends like, okay, I think Nankiville's not there anymore, but they've got these hookers and flankers that never get selected by Farrell, that have these chips on their shoulders and they just take it out on everyone every year. So, and like you said, there's history from last year, the Wink Gate and Crowley shouting at people and stuff. So they will be very motivated. And like I said, how did Hollywood Bets Sharks beat the Stormers up front? They just the pack had never looked so good under anyone until Peterson got there and was an interim coach, which is what he should have stayed. Because
mm,
all of a sudden the guys were hunting together, they were close together. You could throw a blanket over them. They were working so hard together and going straight up the middle against teams. So that would also be my guess. Just remember where your good guys are, use them, and then every now and again, Siamasuku or someone can try and crossfield kick to Mapimpi or whoever's out there.
yeah. Then just quickly on other games, Ulster Connacht is a big game. Connacht's just keeping sort of tabs with the top eight. Ulster
Yeah.
in their run. I mean, this is probably the first time Ulster will have a big chunk of their players unavailable after the Six Nations. So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see them manage it. I mean, they won pretty well against Edinburgh this week, and yeah, so I think they have a pretty decent second sort of string team. Scarlet
Yeah,
Zebra, unfortunately, is the basement dweller game right now. Benetton
yeah,
Ospreys also in that mid-table, and a very tasty Glasgow Leinster game. Obviously, I don't think there'll be most of the internationals won't be there, but these two teams
yeah.
still hate each other, and I love how much the Irish and the Scottish hate each other. It's so funny.
Yeah. And this is just the national side going at it again, you know. Now Scotland
Yeah.
has another chance to try and not embarrass themselves. I hope someone on the field after Saturday's game was like, "See you next weekend at home. We'll see how you do in in Edinburgh, in Glasgow." So yeah, this is a big match. It's almost a shame that it's not the full strength teams, but maybe
Mm.
that makes it more interesting, seeing the two, like who's got the better depth, who's got the guys who can pick them up. I would say almost I'd go with Glasgow on this one because Mr. Ioane has not been worth the money.
Oof.
Um, he's not going to return to New Zealand as the Geordie Barrett. So yeah, I'd really like to see that one. And then at the end we have Stormers Dragons. Who's winning that one?
Yeah, I mean it should be the Stormers, honestly, but
Should be,
I actually
yeah.
saw it's at DHL, not in Stellenbosch, so that's interesting. But
Mm.
look, I think the Dragons have been obviously a lot better than they have been before. I think they're like plus like 15 points to where they were last season, obviously the two wins and the
Mm.
three draws. This, yeah, obviously this needs to be a banker 5 point game. Like,
Yeah,
no disrespect to the Dragons, etc., etc. But like for the Stormers, especially, they need to be able to get 5 points. For the Lions, I think to an extent, you need to be able to get
yeah,
5 points against Edinburgh. The Bulls and the Sharks is a bit more leeway because you're facing sort of teams in the top eight already. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, bonus points going to be important, I think, for the next few weeks, and just
Mm.
being able to accumulate. Like most seasons, you need to get to 50 to
Yeah.
be in the top eight. And I mean, for the
With
Stormers,
a good
obviously,
positive points difference as well, because there's often a few teams on 50 as well. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, the
Mm.
Stormers are well 9 points away, so they're fine. But the Bulls 20, the Lions 17. So
Mm.
you're already at like 4, 5 wins that you need. So there's not
Yeah.
much room for error. And the Sharks basically have to go all out in order to get to 50 now. So I mean,
Mm.
it'll be interesting to see what the Sharks prioritize because they have a big game now in the Challenge Cup in 2 weeks' time. So, do they try to save players for that? You know, is
Yeah.
Eben Etzebeth going to be sort of rested for the Challenge Cup and all the other Springboks, or do they go, look, this is the best way? Because I guess you can look at it as either you win 5 or 6 out of 6 in one competition, or you win what 4 games in another
Yeah.
competition and you are
Yeah.
in the Champions Cup.
Yeah. And they've already won the Challenge Cup, so they know how to do it. That's maybe the easiest silverware because the URC is no joke to win that. Maybe it's a bit too early for them to make that call, though. Maybe after the next two games, because they're playing the Dragons next. If they can get a couple
Mm.
good games under the belt, I think maybe they would start focusing on the URC. But like you said, it's do or die for them now, and they should really be able to do the resources those guys have. They should not be.
Oy.
It is the great mystery of the Irk.
Yeah. Look, yeah, we could probably talk another hour about the Sharks, but Ringo, let's end it there. There's a ton of rugby to look forward to. The
Mm,
Premier's back, the top 14's back, Super Rugby's continue to go on. Big sort of quick congratulations also to Portugal for winning their first Rugby Europe
yeah,
Championship in a few years, beating Georgia and their sort of hold on that competition. Really good game. I'm keen to see what the highlights for that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of
The
rugby
Women's
sort of
Six
back on the menu.
Nations, isn't that starting now as well? The I see
I
the
think in
squads have been
another
announced
two
there.
weeks, yeah, but
Yeah,
the squads
yeah,
are starting to come out. So I
yeah.
think, let me see, it starts on the 11th of April. So
Yeah, okay,
still
so
have
it's
a
a
few
couple
more
weeks away.
weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
No, so
yeah,
there's lots coming.
there's a lot on the menu. So Rian, thank you so much for joining us and thank you for subbing in really well. I think you've represented you and the Lions quite well in this regard.
I'm not oblivious to the fact that the guys who like to talk shit about the lines or even forget they exist did not show up today. So
Look,
I'll
if
forever remember this slight, and I think I'll give them a thumbs down on the YouTube video as well because no, where are they?
if the yeah, if the Lions make it to the top eight, you can be on the podcast for the whole playoffs for sure.
Cool. I'd take you up on that.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Please follow us on our social media channels. Please like, share, subscribe to this podcast and wherever you get this podcast on Spotify and Apple, on YouTube. And yes, there's a lot of rugby to look forward to. We're back to the URC. We're back to domestic rugby. So there'll be a lot to break down. South African teams are back. Most of the players are back from all of their mid sort of like season holidays. So there's a lot to get our teeth
Long
into.
bands.
And yeah, some holidays longer than others. Certain players took a few months off, but yeah,
Yeah.
like as I think you've said before, like the season of the Springboks being able to get away for like a honeymoon or their trips to Asia or America, like that stopped. So
Mm,
now it's sort of all systems go into the playoffs, into the Springbok
mm.
season as well. So I think yeah, this is the time to get into rugby domestically as well. So yeah, thank you so
Yes.
much, everyone, and we will see you next week. Bye bye.
Cheers.